Good morning and welcome back to Bible Break. Bit late in the day this time around, but I've had a bit of a cold, so I've just get over that really. But here we are, Genesis 34, reading from the NIV as usual. We'll read the whole chapter, verses 1 to 31. You've heard, of course, about, or you know about Jacob's 12 sons. Who became the fathers of the 12 tribes of Israel. But today's reading, the sons are in there, the sons are involved, as we shall see. But the heading in my subheading in my Bible is Dinah and the Shechemites. Good name for a rock group, but actually the chapter is about Jacob's daughter that he had with Leah. You may recall Dinah. So there we are. Let's get on with it. Now, Dinah, the daughter Leah had born to Jacob, went out to visit the women of the land because they settled in Shechem when they came back from Paddan Aram, where they'd been with Laban, Jacob's uncle. When Shechem, so that was his name as well, son of Hamor the Hivite, the ruler of that area, saw her, he took her and raped her. His heart was drawn to Dinah, daughter of Jacob, and he loved the girl and spoke tenderly to her. And Shechem said to his father Hamor, "Get me this girl as my wife." When Jacob heard that his daughter Dinah had been defiled, his sons were in the fields with his livestock, so he kept quiet about it until they came home. Then Shechem's father Hamor went out to talk with Jacob. Now Jacob's sons had come in from the fields as soon as they heard what had happened. They were filled with grief and fury, because Shechem had done a disgraceful thing in Israel by lying with Jacob's daughter, a thing that should not be done. But Hamor said to them, "My son Shechem has his heart set on your daughter. Please give her to him as his wife. Intermarry with us, give us your daughters, and take our daughters for yourselves. You can settle among us. The land is open to you. Live in it, trade in it, and acquire property in it." Then Shechem said to Dinah's father and brothers, let me find favor in your eyes, and I will give you whatever you ask. Make the price for the bride and the gift I am to bring as great as you like, and I'll pay whatever you ask me, only give me the girl as my wife. Because their sister Dinah had been defiled, Jacob's sons replied deceitfully as they spoke to Shechem and his father Hamor. They said to them, "We can't do such a thing. We can't give our sister to a man who is not circumcised. That would be a disgrace to us." A double disgrace, I suppose, then. "We will give our consent to you on one condition only, that you become like us by circumcising all your males. Then we will give you our daughters and take your daughters for ourselves. We'll settle among you and become one people with you. But if you will not agree to be circumcised, we'll take our sister and go." Well, there's no deceit in this so far. This was actually the sign that God required of Abraham and his descendants, that every male child would be circumcised as a sign of the covenant between God and his people. So there's no deceit in saying that anybody who wanted to join the Israelite company or ally themselves with the Israelite company would have to do this. So where's the deceit? Well, we're going to find out, I dare say. Verse 18. Their proposal seemed good to Hamor and his son Shechem. The young man, who was the most honoured of all his father's household, lost no time in doing what they said, because he was delighted with Jacob's daughter. So Hamor and his son Shechem went to the gate of their city to speak to their fellow townsmen. These men are friendly towards us, they said. Let them live in our land and trade in it. The land has plenty of room for them. We can marry their daughters and they can marry ours. But the men will consent to live with us as one people only on the condition that our males be circumcised as they themselves are. Won't their livestock, their property, and all their other animals become ours? I don't think that this line of reasoning is bad, by the way. I think that all they mean is that by this alliance, by our becoming one people, as it were, that's how what they've got will belong to us. So let us give our consent to them, and they will settle among us. All the men who went out of the city gate agreed with Hamor and his sons Shechem, and every male in the city was circumcised. 3 days later, while all of them were still in pain, adult males getting circumcised, two of Jacob's sons, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords and attacked the unsuspecting city, killing every male. They put Hamor and his wife and his son, Shechem, to the sword and took Dinah from Shechem's house and left. The sons of Jacob came upon the dead bodies and looted the city where their sister had been defiled. They seized their flocks and herds and donkeys and everything else of theirs in the city and out in the fields. They carried off all their wealth and all their women and children, taking as plunder everything in the houses. Then Jacob speaks at last. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, "You have brought trouble on me by making me a stench to the Canaanites and Perizzites, the people living in this land. We are few in number, and if they join forces against me and attack me, I and my household will be destroyed." But they replied, "Should he have treated our sister like a prostitute?" Now, of course, I understand their anger, but what they don't seem to grasp in their anger is that they've got tunnel vision. Tunnel vision. And tunnel vision can be, and is in fact, the greatest killer of mankind. So let's take it step by step, because it is true that Shechem rapes Dinah. We are told. That states things very starkly and very brutally. And things did start very brutally between them by the sounds and by the look of it. Though it does seem as though there really is something between them afterwards. We are told that he was drawn to Dinah, daughter of Jacob. He loved the girl and spoke tenderly to her. and then he wanted to do the decent thing, except that the decent thing would have been maybe to have encountered Dinah and spoken tenderly to her, and then go and talk to her father and talk to the family, and see what might have come of that. But no, Shechem did things the wrong way round, and he paid a very, very heavy price for doing so. So our reading does begin with this, as it turns out, a very big mistake which Shechem commits, and for which, certainly as far as Dinah's brothers is concerned, punishment is required and needs to be exacted. Retribution is needed. Vengeance, you can see, as far as they're concerned, is what is required for the way that Shechem has dishonoured their sister and dishonoured their family. And they're not wrong, except that things get out of control. And yes, justice is required for the harm that has been done. But what is also required is that the justice concern the person involved, the man involved, that the punishment for what he has done befits the crime. As they say in the Gilbert and Sullivan opera, the punishment fits the crime, the punishment must fit the crime. No more, no less. But the problem is that it turns into a lot more. And this is why when old man Jacob, and how desperately we always need a few old wise heads and who are prepared to speak up and speak out, so that a bit of wisdom can be found and a bit of the real measure of a situation can be taken. Justice cannot and should not be entrusted to hot-headed youths who have only one idea of what should be done and prepared to carry that out through as far as their anger will take them. No, we need more Jacobs, of course, in this world, and certainly at the present time. I noticed that on the political front, even Henry Kissinger is saying about the Ukraine and the situation with Russia. Even Henry Kissinger is saying, old man Kissinger, old man Jacob, old man Kissinger is saying, hang on, pull back, don't be so stupid. And that's what Jacob says. Well, what have you done? Do you realize the position that you have now placed us in? By giving vent to your spleen, vent to your anger. Yeah, I'm not saying that what Shechem did was right or that you are wrong in wanting justice, but they were peaceable with us. They did what we asked them to. They were looking to make things up to us. yeah, Checkham did things the wrong way round, for sure. But you have now done a lot more than you should have. Well done. And that's what we need, like I say. A few more Kissingers, if that's okay at the present moment, a few more Jacobs to point out where this could be heading and to get those brakes on a bit sharpish. And with that, I shall bid you farewell for the moment and see you soon, hopefully.